Hello everyone! Today we're making the beloved tender charlotte from childhood. The only thing is we're making it in a new way. We're making it with whole apples and they're stuffed. Now I'll show you how I prepare it. It's quick, simple and delicious. You know, it really makes you long for spring and for pies like these. We'll be baking in molds with a diameter of 26 cm. Line the bottom and sides with parchment paper and preheat the oven to 180 degrees. For this size mold, I use about 9 or 7 apples. Today, I have 9 very small ones. For this recipe, it's best to use these small apples. Remove the core, seeds, and all the insides like this, so it's clean. Apples, I don't peel them. I've made this with different types of apples, and when they're too sweet, it's not good either. Then the taste is too cloying, in my opinion. On this side, trim the apple a bit so it stands evenly in the mold. Ideally, the apples should be the same height, like this. I take approximately about a tablespoon full with sugar and add about 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, so there's a lot of cinnamon. Mix everything thoroughly and add a spoonful generously into the apples, carefully and gently, ensuring even distribution. Place cranberries in the center. Now I'll tell you what else you can put in the center to make it tasty. With cranberries, in my opinion, it's delicious. They are a bit tart. They give a spicy flavor. You can add prunes, dried apricots. Today I will also be adding raisins. Regarding nuts, I made it with walnuts. I'll say this. On the first day, when the charlotte is freshly made, it's tasty. But on the second day, the apples, you see, they are moist, and if the charlotte remains until the second day, the nuts absorb the moisture and it's not very tasty. Already on the second day, so I don't add nuts, and a few raisins. This is how it turned out for me in the end. So look, all these gaps, let them stay as they are. No need to pack the apples, even if you want to cut them into several pieces. For what purpose? When I cut a piece of the pie, it will be just like this with one apple. Then there's both the dough and a whole delicious apple inside. The apples are ready. Now let's prepare the dough. If you want, you can trim the peel around the apple. But in my opinion, when I trimmed the peel, and I have done so, too much juice seeped into the dough. For a 26 cm pan, I use 6 eggs. If you simply want to just reduce the recipe, divide everything into 3 parts. And for a 20 cm pan, I use 2/3. Beat the eggs until everything increases in volume and becomes a large, fluffy mass. Add a pinch of salt, vanilla sugar, you can just use vanilla, and regular sugar to the beaten eggs. I pour it in like this, increase the speed, and beat it. Add all the flour to the beaten mixture at once and mix it very carefully and thoroughly like this with a silicone or wooden spatula until it is completely and thoroughly smooth. Once the flour is mixed in, add 1½ tablespoons of sour cream. My sour cream is 20% fat. If you can't find sour cream, you can use yogurt, but make sure it's full fat. I know some people also add kefir. In that case, you can use 1½ tablespoons of full-fat kefir. Pour the batter over the apples, just like this in a circle. Make sure to spread it out well so that the apples are covered with batter on top, even if the layer is thin. The batter will still rise, and it will be just fine. Place it in the preheated oven, and a very important point, reduce the temperature to 160 degrees. It bakes for approximately 40 minutes. Every oven bakes differently, but the longer you keep it in the oven, the better, so that the apples are cooked as thoroughly as possible. And to ensure the cake doesn't burn, so at a temperature of 160 degrees for 40 minutes, or even 45, it should look nice on top. But if you bake it at 180 degrees, it will rise quickly, start to burn on top, while the inside will still have raw dough. So, well, our pie is almost ready. Just took it out of the oven. Today, mine was in for 45 minutes. Yours might take longer. Check with a wooden stick to ensure there's no wet dough. Do not touch the pie. Don't even take it out of the form. Leave it for 15-20 minutes to cool down a bit. About half an hour has passed for me. Remove the mold. It has already cooled down. The pie is barely warm. Remove the parchment. Oh, what a beauty. If desired, a little powdered sugar on top. Just like that, a little bit. So, and what else am I doing? Now a little more. You can never have too much powdered sugar. And I have some cinnamon with sugar left here. Just a little bit of cinnamon and sugar like this. And now we cut. The main thing is to cut between the apples. So, there we go. Now you know how, at least you can see where the apples are. And once, when I was cooking, everything was just level like this. And you also want to present it nicely. So, like this here. So, are you ready? All right, let's take it out. Ta-da-da-da. So from this side, the apple isn't visible. From this side, we slightly cut a part of another apple. So let's cut a piece and see how the apple is doing inside. Well, first of all, I want to say, with such a large piece of pie, it turns out very well if you prepared it for a celebration and have guests. Now let's carefully cut it. So, oh, look. Oh, everything fell out well. It should be like this. Look here, this is correct. Come on, Dimochka, show it. Look how delicious and beautiful it looks. The dough itself is somewhat similar to cake dough, slightly. Because of the sour cream, it has that effect. On my channel, there is another charlotte, a classic version. I make it thinner so that there are layers of apples on top, sprinkled with a little cinnamon. But these are two completely different charlottes. Try it this way. You can serve it while it's still slightly warm with ice cream, but in my opinion, this version shouldn't be served with ice cream. It should be served just like this. Take another look at the apple itself. The smaller the apples you use, the faster they will bake and become this soft. The dough itself, you see, is like a cake. Now I'm going to try it. This pie shouldn't be eaten with a fork. It should be eaten with your hands, preferably with a cherry compote. So once I made it with apples, but I used slightly larger apples. So the apple was about less than halfway through. It baked through at the bottom, but remained a bit hard on top. And even inside, about 1 centimeter of the dough was undercooked. Therefore, use small apples and make it in a 26 centimeter diameter pan. Amazing. You can also add lemon zest to the dough. It pairs very well with cranberries. Now I will eat the apple itself. The apple fully baked, and this is the crust that we didn't bind. It holds all the juiciness in the middle, along with all these dried fruits, especially with cranberries. Take, for example, I had fresh frozen cranberries. I just thawed them and added them. It's really, really cool. I also added prunes. I didn't quite like it with dried apricots, but it's tasty with raisins. Well, that's about it. You can add some seasonal berries if you're making it in season. Yum. In general, if you count by apples, this pie is enough for 9 people. Well, because no one will want to share their stuffed apple. So, but you can use the smaller apples if you find them. Well, usually only those who live in a private house can find them. You can then use windfall apples as they are smaller. Well, I'm awaiting your comments and feedback. And right, if you perhaps make charlotte in a special way too, with whole apples, but something unusual. That's all. I'm looking forward to your photos on Instagram. Be sure to try and bake. Watch me on the Yarden TV channel. Subscribe to my channel. Love you all. Bye. Hello everyone. I'm Olga Mafi. I love cooking and share recipes on my YouTube channel. And Food with Love is my first interactive book. Here are 130 of the best recipes according to the channel's viewers, as well as over 600 step-by-step photos of dish preparation. The highlight of the book is that there is a video next to each recipe. You just need to scan the QR code and follow the link. See how it works. A very delicious fruitcake called topekanka. Buy my book and let's cook together.